Getting started right now. Peace of Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of the weekly one-on-one session with the Not I But We Dream Team, New Order National Human Rights Organization, brought to you by the founder, president, CEO, Mr. Not I But We, Gerald Emerson Rose. By honor and privilege at this time to hear from one of his representatives. A few weeks ago, Maria Harris, we welcome you back to the platform. So, can you tell the family your function, role, and New Order position? How long you've been around, and what was it about New Order that kind of brought you into the organization?
Well, like I said, my name is Maria Harris. I am the political strategist for the organization. And what brought me to it is, I think it was fate. I was just thinking about Gerald one day. It's probably late December, and I gave him a shout out. I met him in a small rally, sort of. We were protesting a nail salon that had discriminated against my good friend, and he just showed up out of nowhere, and I liked his presence, um, his mindset of what he wanted us to do, how he just completely kind of took over and guided the whole protest, and that was years ago. I mean, probably over 10 years ago. My son was born, I think, and he's 10 now. So that was probably, and he'll be 11 this year. So it's probably 10 years ago. And then just haphazardly, I just was looking at, we're Facebook friends, and I was looking at his posts and some things that he had up, and something just inside me said, you need to get in touch with him. And then I hit him up on Facebook and let him know that I was proud of what he was doing. I was looking at everything that he had posted, and if there was anything I could do to help, please let me know. Well, he hit me back and said, I would love for you to join our team. And he told me some things that he was looking forward to putting some things in place, how I could be a part of that. So I told him, okay. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And January, I joined the team, and I was a researcher at that time. And I just did one job, and I reported to him, and he said, you know what, I would love for you to be the political strategist. I love information and researching and doing things like that. So I said, okay, sure, I'll give it a try. And I did, and I love what I do. All of the research that I do, all of the viewing, I am on my Facebook page, Occupy Democrat, and Now This are two streamers that I use to get my information. It's very legit. They cover all things political, and they make sure that they're kind of like democratically based, but I have seen them criticized, and I have experienced and I have witnessed them and observed them criticize, even when Democrats do something that's not becoming of a political leader. So what they do is they go in and they cover all that stuff, and I become knowledgeable based on that. And I also follow Roland Martin, who is what I was listening to before we came on the podcast. So I try to stay abreast about what's going on political wise, bring that report back to Mr. Rose, and the post that I'm sorry, in the Facebook page that we're on, Not I But We, and what is it? If there's another one that there's two of them that so I report to both of those and let everybody know what I'm finding, how everything is going on. And it's very, very interesting, because now we've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff we don't even understand. I mean, you see the news and you know what's going on with the news. The news report one thing, and then we see the president, he get up and he says something totally different than what's actually going on in each city. I don't think he is knowledgeable or understanding of the magnitude of what's really, really going on. So those are the things that I cover, and I make sure that Mr. Rose is abreast of those things, and he hits me up and lets me know some things that he is seeing and that he doesn't agree with, or say, "Hey, what is your opinion?" And I give him my opinion.
Okay, so can we talk about the current political climate? This is an election year. There's a lot of things that are going on. And can we kind of orient the people's mind in regard to where the focus should be amidst all of this chaos? People should be paying attention to, based upon your research and what you have been doing and seeing and working with this particular organization.
Well, at this point, we are in the month of April. We don't vote until November. So I honestly think that right now we need to be focused on healing and being a service to one another. Um, we don't need to forget about this is an election year, and I post a lot and keep the people around me knowledgeable about what's going on and what I see. One thing that troubles me is the lack of interest of the people from our president, and he thinks that he's going to lose out on something if he doesn't campaign through this whole COVID situation. He's made some very terrible, terrible decisions and not caring for the people and caring for himself. He's a clear cut narcissist. So, knowing that, what we have to do is, first of all, make sure that we're okay. If we all die out, then we won't be here to vote anyway. So we got to stay focused on right now. How do we get through what we're going through? We got to chunk this elephant and take one bite at a time. Right now, we need to get through COVID. We need to make sure that we are taking all the precautions that we need to take. We need to stay inside unless we need something or we have to go out. We need to be alive at the end of the day. We need to be completely okay. Check up on your families, check up on your friends, make sure everybody is okay. Get these calling trees. Hey, I'll take these amount of people to talk to. You take these amount of people to talk to every day. This is not a once a week thing. Guys, people are getting sick one day. 2 days later, they are in the hospital. 2 days later, after that, they're dead and gone. This is not something that we need to play around with. Check up on your people every day, all day, if for when they're elderly, the seniors. And then once we get finished with COVID, which hopefully will not last through the end of April. They're projecting April 29th, April 30th, when we should be kind of cleared. But then once this is over, we can go back to um, getting back to the system and of voting, why we vote, when do we vote, because a lot of the primaries got pushed back from what it was March and April. They're not being able to vote. So if you're in that state or that area that was shut down from voting in the primary, please, once we are cleared to get back out, make sure somebody speaks up and say, hey, where do we go? Where do we go vote? Where has voting been moved? Do we go do the paper route, or do we wait till they get the systems out? It's going to be very interesting how they bring us back into the voting arena once this all is over. But we have to chunk this elephant at once at a time. The entire nation is going through COVID. It's not just every state by state or area by area. The nation is going through it. We got to chunk that elephant down and push it out of the way, get through it, and get it managed to where that we're okay and we're alive to vote. And then we bring back on the scene the voting thing, because it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens.
So the focus is on healing, regrouping, and being strategic about that, and getting in back into the spirit of service. I hear from what you're saying in regards to us getting out there, checking on the elderly, checking on our families, ensuring everybody is good, and not losing sight of some of the other things that are going on, especially in regards to this election year. You know,
Yes.
uh, I think it's rather convenient that certain things are happening in certain aspects. You see what I'm saying? And
Uh-huh.
I think this is a good opportunity to remind everybody like who's truly in charge. You understand? Like don't lose sight of that either.
Mm-hmm.
You might
Mm-hmm.
see some things they might look dark, they might look grim, but understand that there's a power at work. There's an ancestral power at work. There are forces of nature that are at work that are here to show you who's in power. You understand? We really need to, in the midst of everything else that's going on, like kind of be mindful. You see what I'm saying? Kind of be
Yes.
mindful of what's going on. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I appreciate it. So I know none of this doesn't stop, brother Gerald, brother. He's still rolling. You understand? He's still rolling like ain't nothing happened. You understand? And I know New Orleans like ain't nothing happened. So could you kind of give us kind of like an update of where New Orleans is, as a collective at this particular time?
Okay. I'm glad you mentioned the powers that be, the greater power, the more spiritual aspects of what we're going through as a people. We have um, a spiritual advisor, and I don't know exactly what her title is, and if I do, I just forgot it. But we have prayer once a week that we log on to, and that we pray together, and she keeps everybody elevated in that spirit, making sure that we understand and know um, our help is greater than what's in our own ability. And we love on each other, we praise each other, we esteem each other the way the word tells us to. That keeps us going, that keeps Mr. Rose going, that keeps all of us understanding that this has, when all else fail, then we know that we got a greater power to lean on, a more spiritual aspect of this whole thing. And in the spirit of that, this is bringing all of us together, bringing us together as one, letting us get back to the family type situation. There's a lot of people that got into the routine of get up every morning, get dressed, go to work, come home, feed the kids, get them ready for bed, go to bed. Right now, that has all broken down. There's no more that. The norm of life has been completely interrupted. And I really, really think that God has shut us down so we can refocus on who really all of this belongs to. A lot of people are reaching out and they are praying, and they are um being thoughtful and really like, hey, uh I got to really, really understand that this is greater than me, because at the end of the day, we don't know. Like they say in South Carolina here, only be around up to three people, four people. But guess what? What if one of the three has the COVID and you don't know? So really, you try not to walk in paranoia, but you're still trying to be conscious of, I made my surroundings may be small, or the people around me maybe just a few, but what if this person is infected and I take that home to my child? Or families are getting back together, they're becoming family again, people are loving and caring for each other once again. So she brings all of that to our mindset that help us to remember. Mr. Rose is traveling. I don't know if he's with anybody, but he's once again on the I think Miss Paula Smith. Her book was, let me see. I can't remember her book, but she the no Paula Smith, Miss Paula Smith was she was the one that was trying to. She's out in Oklahoma, and she was raped by one of the um, he was an he he was a well, he was an attorney, I think. Well, he works in an attorney's office, and he at the time he was with the motor vehicles, and begging for justice. That's it. Thank you, Lord. Begging for justice is her book, and he's back and forth with Miss Paula Smith, making sure that she has the support that she needs, along with the Nation of Islam, along with a lot of other people. So they're going back. There's a lot of what is it? Not debating. Well, whenever the attorneys get together, and I don't even think it's deliberating about what her case is all about. So they're working on that. He has been studying. He has been the law. He has been reading up on a lot of things of how to help her, how to get her to have lots of closure and acceptance about what's going on in her life, and how she gets through this and help other people where she is. So that's not the only thing. I mean, he's fighting against traveling through the COVID situation that he's, and so, I don't know if he's going on the plane or if he's driving, but I'm hoping that he's safe. We're praying for him with helping Miss Smith, and that's one thing that's going on with us. We're always just trying to figure out what's next. Now, one thing I do not like that I have been seeing is our people. We're not being mindful that when things are in place out here, especially when it's go somewhere and sit down and be at home and not in these streets. I saw a video where they shut down a party, which was well over 10 people, and they were in the background upset and mad because the police was called and they was there and they was taking some people to jail. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I have a really, really good friend of mine. She works with the DeKalb County Police Department, and she was telling me about what they are governed by and some things, and she wasn't off record or anything. Everybody down there in Atlanta knows if you are doing something regarding to, well, put it this way, if you are not abiding by the law through this COVID-19 scare or pandemic or whatever you want to call it, they will come in and break it up, and you will be prosecuted by the full extent of the law. You cannot just not abide by the law just because you feel like you don't want to. And then they're crying out that, oh, look at the police, they are doing the wrong thing. And one girl was in the background saying, he is a black man and he treating us like this. No, everything is not discrimination. Everything is not racism. And we're going to stop that. Everything is not against us as Black people. We got to be very, very careful. We have to come together as one and understand. We need one voice, and one voice is human rights, civil rights, treated equally and with safety. We got to remember the safety unit in the of the whole thing. And we can't be out there just saying that because the police are called, then it's against us. A lot of times it is, but sometimes we're wrong. And so I saw that if it had been something that was wrong, I would have called Mr. Rose and said, hey, we got a situation at XYZ. I think we need to look into it. And that's how we do it. If we see something, we let him know. He'll get the research team on it, and then they'll pounce on it and see what's going on. And then we'll go out and see what we can do to help. But it's some situations that can't be touched because they put themselves in that situation. So every situation is not racism. Every situation is not a clear-cut breach of human rights or civil rights. Some things are just done because people are being negligent to themselves. They're being negligent to their neighborhoods. They're being unthoughtful to their communities, and they need to get it together. Really, really, really get it together and understand that we need to stand as a people. We need to stand strong and love on each other and make clear decisions about what it is we need to do, how we need to do it, and don't think that everything is a racist gesture towards you. make sure that you're in the right whenever you start recording, because a lot of the people that were putting live comments, and it was live when it was recorded, we was recorded and then it was kind of put up there. And the comments were saying, well, what are you doing? I can't make sense of this. Or why are you guys out there? You know, we in a shutdown. Why are you doing this? And why are you doing that? So make sure you're in the right. If Mr. Rose and our organization come in to assist, we will only come in to assist if there is a clear cut that somebody has wronged you. And it is racism and a violation of your civil and human rights. So that's why we come in. But we have been trying to figure out, how do we love on people? What do we do to make sure that everybody is represented in a good way? We are trying to figure out, how do we take care of everything. I think a lot of our seniors are being neglected out there during this time. We're looking into a lot of that stuff. I have a few people and a few situations that I'm looking at, and to see if, hey, if it's something that we need to address, it's something that we can bring to closure and bring to an end to a couple of people. So those are the things that we work on when it comes down to our organization. New order is just what it is. It's a new order of life, a way, a strategic mindset to make sure that people are okay, make sure that love is shared, and that we esteem people, and give them, first of all, the law, what the law means, and how it helps, and how it brings effect to everybody's life, and what you need to do as a citizen. Make sure you're doing everything you need to do, and that it is legal, and to make sure everybody is okay. At the end of the day, we got to make sure that we're okay. We got to make sure we're alive tomorrow. We got to make sure that we are doing everything we need to do to love each other and to love people, and to stay focused on everything we need to stay focused on. Since we're still rolling, um, one thing I want to talk to the people about is that is viewing your whenever you're viewing the president and viewing the people that are coming on TV, and all the things that has been thrown at you. I have become overwhelmed as well, looking at all these news things, checking out Facebook, and every time you look around, something on Facebook comes up, and it's just totally out there. What troubles me is, I was looking at Roland Martin just a minute ago, and his live broadcast. One thing he said was, he is kind of thrown by the blatant disrespect and disregard that our president has on even his vice president. Vice President Pence came on to tell the United States to abide by the 30-day self-quarantine type thing that they're putting in place. It's all over the place. I'm here hubbed in South Carolina, Spartanburg, South Carolina, and they just gave us the essential businesses are the only ones to be opened. Hospitals, nursing homes, care facilities, police department, um, rescue companies, and fire departments, those kinds of things. If you working, please work from home. They are encouraging businesses to work from home. With that being said, they said minutes later, after Pence got through speaking, President Trump stood up in the same spot he had just stood up and said that, and usurped his entire authority to tell us that. He gave him a job to do, and that was to be to help us with the homeland security part and help us stay safe. And then when he tells us to stay safe, he completely came in and usurped everything he had just said. That is a problem. When you see things like that, remember that in November. This is the kind of man that is showing up. He's always been this way, but he's showing up. He's being very ugly to the people that are reporting the news. Every time somebody says something to him that he doesn't agree with, he tells them it's fake, it's not real. You are a terrible reporter. He is so ugly and mean to people, and it is just unreal how he's acting. So what we need to do is we need to remember this in November. Also, um, the precautions and things that these hospitals are taking to get ready every morning to face the day. Think about it, guys. There are people at the hospital all night and all day. There are nurses and doctors sleeping in their cars because they do not want to take um, the risk of maybe infecting their families at home. They're sleeping at the hospitals. They're really, really having a hard time with this. In New York, they had one trailer that was brought in. It was a refrigerated trailer, and they're loading bodies in the trailers. They have ordered other 18-wheeler trailers that are refrigerated to the hospital, and they are putting bodies, dead bodies, in these trailers. I don't quite understand what is going on. It may be the um, organized chaos. It may be a conspiracy theory of organ harvesting. It may be, I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, we need to be mindful. There was a man in his car, recording. He was recording all of this, and he was crying and saying, "Guys, please stay at home. This is real." And he said, "It's real, maybe 100 times. It's real. It's real, y'all. It's real. It's real. It's real." And he was floored just looking at them loading a body into the refrigerated trailer, and he was just torn up. I think it would tear me up too, to know that a human being was just died. Family wasn't called. Took him out in a white bag, brought him downstairs to outside. They were on a forklift and lifted these dead bodies up into the trailer and just slid them into the trailer. I just, that is really, really a concern for me. Families aren't able to even recover the bodies. Once they're dead, they're dead. And they go into a trailer. Who does that? I mean, it's just unreal. So at the end of the day, and I'm saying this to everybody, please be careful. Take care of yourself. Don't let anything happen to anybody that, um, if you can help it, make sure everybody is eating. Somebody get together and say, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." Come up with a plan. Figure out how you do it. Guys, we got to love on each other like we have never loved on one another before. This is really, really taking some thought even from me. Make sure my son is still in college. He did not want to come home because I have an ailing father, and we gather around him and make sure my mom is okay. He said, "Mom, I've been here at school with the kids," and he plays football. He said that I can just stay here. He said, "I just want to be here and make sure that I can help here at school." And I'm like, "Really? You have a family?" He was like, "I know, Mom." He said, "But we're going to get together and we're going to get through this here at school." So he decided to stay at school, and at college, and be with his buddies and make sure everybody's okay, so they take care of each other. And that was really noble of him. And I pray for him every day, because you don't know. You don't know who is sick and they hadn't had the symptoms yet or whatever. So you pray for us and we'll pray for you. How about that? Once again, my name is Maria Harris. I am the political strategist for New Order, National Human Rights Organization, hubbed out of Marietta, Georgia. And I'm coming streaming here from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Our president is, I don't think that's his official title, but Mr. Gerald Rose. And his father was a human rights activist when he was younger, and he just slipped into his shoes and just kept going. We have a lot of people in the organization that do a lot of wonderful and magnificent things. We have attorneys that are on board. We have office staff, all kinds of strategists. We have a research team, all kinds of things going on. If you need us, please get in touch with us, and I will try to get all the information for you. I'm so sorry I didn't have it together. It's New Order, National Human Rights Organization. And our 800 number is 1-800-346-5138. And you can either mail us or get in touch with us at P.O. Box 1821, Marietta, Georgia, 30061. Or you can always look us up on the internet and leave us an email at info, I-N-F-O, at NONHRO.org. And those acronyms are New Order National Human Rights Organization.org. Okay? Get in touch with us. Let us know what's going on in your area, and let us know if there's anything we can do to help. It don't have to be something national. It could be something that's going on right in your area, right? In something as simple as something going on in school, being discriminated against, football team, basketball team, club you want to enter, cheerleading team, or something great national, like Miss Paula Smith, who was incarcerated and was raped by an elected official. I don't know if that was his title at that time. I can't quite remember everything on the case, but she was raped, and he did this not only to her, he did it to several other people. And because of the color of her skin, she was discriminated upon. Was offered $100,000 settlement, when two white women that he raped and did this to was offered over $25 million. So you do the math and figure out where the discrimination is. Mr. Rose is currently on the scene, taking this on and helping her find closure and making sure that everybody involved is doing what they need to do to recompense her and make sure that this becomes national. It does what it needs to do. And every woman that has been treated this way in Oklahoma is where it's happened. Everybody in Oklahoma that's been treated this way, it will shut everybody down. And anybody got anything to do with it would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. That's what we're looking for. And thank you so much for having me on. And thank you so much for allowing me this time to speak with you. And I just really appreciate everything.
from China. We pretty much got it. You had Larry Kudlow went before the cameras who said, oh, we pretty much got this thing airtight, locked down. That's why we don't have enough masks and ventilators